Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and then I'd be able to give you first crack at watches like this as soon as tomorrow morning. We often post them here before the website. If you like the watch, you can buy it on thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a first iteration Patek Philippe 5170J-001 in yellow gold. This was the Baselworld 2010 debut model, the launch model for the current family of Patek manual wind chronographs. Now, the dial, the case, both discontinued after early 2013. Give us a little reminder of the way we were at the dawn of this decade. The successor to the much-loved 5070, this one's a little bit more delicate in its proportions and a bit more compact in its outright dimensions. You can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, the case is 39.5 millimeters round. That's not including crown or chronograph pushers. Lug to lug, it's a substantial but versatile and wearable 47.2 millimeters. So I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters with absolutely no difficulty in proportioning, fit, or security. You'll also note that it's a relatively slim watch at 11.1 millimeters thick. It also has a slope to its conical bezel that makes it quite easy to slide underneath the dress cuff. The strap is large, rectangular scale, gloss black alligator leather, monotone stitch, folded edges, and you'll note it's a new Patek Philippe factory strap with a calfskin underlay, and a full Patek Philippe yellow gold 18 karat deployant clasp, nicely finished internally with a filigree style Calatrava Cross externally. It has a nice heft and weight to it, so if you like to wear your watch loose, having that substantial clasp underneath will prevent the watch from hula hooping or capsizing on your wrist. Oftentimes wearing a watch that has a light clasp or buckle too loose can result in unwanted movement. Not the case here. You'll find that the spacing of the lugs is a versatile 21 millimeters. That's a standard size. You will have many OEM and aftermarket strap options should you wish to accessorize. And Patek uses pull-tab spring bars so you can quickly remove the strap for swapping your shoes or simply to clean deeply between the lugs. The case band is simple. It's evocative of a broad range of historic Patek Philippe chronographs from the 1930s to the present, and it has a little bit of Calatrava blended profile to it. The lugs form a horizontal sweep that continues unimpeded through the case band, the junction of the mid-case and the bezel, helping to emphasize that character line. The horizontal character lines being spare but strong. There's a little conical profile to the bezel. It has a vertical aspect and it has a conical aspect. And then there's a small amount of domed profile to the Sapphire. All of high polish in yellow gold. This is a classical composition, all told. And that continues on the dial, where rather than the subsequent tachymeter scale, Patek Philippe, and we can get close now that the watch is off the wrist, but Patek Philippe employed a doctor-appropriate or athlete-inspired pulsation scale. You use it in conjunction with the chronograph seconds to extrapolate the pulse of a patient. Now, of course, later on, a tachymeter would be offered, and also scale-free 5170s would be offered with nothing but minutes and seconds outboard. So this is the earlier dial. It also features the stick indices and stylized Roman numerals at 12 and X6. Of course, revisions to the dial occurred in 2013, 2015, and yet again in 2017. So there have been several versions of this watch, of which this is the earliest. You also note there's a little bit of a countersink to the sub-registers for running seconds, as well as for chronograph minutes, differential coloration of the hands, anthracite oxidized for chronograph seconds as well as minutes. There's a small inboard railroad track for running seconds and a larger outboard railroad track or sector scale for chronograph minutes. You'll note a large counterweighted lancet style seconds hand and yet another change relative to contemporary leaf hand dials. This earliest iteration of the 5170 featured baton style pointed hands for hours and minutes. Now you will note that the watch has an instantaneous minute jumper, and the best way to observe that is actually to look at the caseback where the rack and snail minute jumper apparatus can be seen in action. That's where you really get a full sense of what you have purchased and where your money went with this watch, because while it is quite handsome on the dial side, and you will note the watch features the long-awaited hacking seconds function absent in the Lamagna-powered 5070, the timepiece is handsome on the front, drop dead gorgeous on the caseback. Now this is Patek Philippe's in-house caliber 29535 PS. Now the timepiece, of course, larger than the old Lemania CH27, that was 27 millimeters, this is just over 29, but the real changes are the rate. The balance has gone from 18,000 vibrations per hour to 28.8. How close can we get here? Nice. The balance beats faster. The power reserve has gone from 48 hours to 65 hours. Of course, you have the hacking or stop seconds function. But the important things remain the same. The level of finish, for example, the metallic Breguet overcoil hairspring that allows the watch to keep excellent time in any position with respect to gravity. Patek's most premium watches still employ metallic overcoil hairsprings for concentric beating in any position. The watch has been adjusted in a chronometer-like 5 positions, and the timepiece does feature the Gyromax-style free-sprung balance architecture that has been a Patek Philippe mechanical engineering tradition since the first one was created in the early 1950s. It allows a precise regulation, and it is more shock and vibration resistant. A black polished cap atop the column wheel, Geneva style, and you'll note golden chaton for a fully jeweled chronograph clutch. A lateral clutch and a column wheel is how you want your chronograph. For a vertical clutch may be more efficient, but a lateral clutch is more beautiful. You can watch it move away from and into contact with the chronograph center wheel. You have the driving wheel that runs off the fourth wheel of the going train. Then you have that intermediate wheel driving the chronograph center wheel. You can see the minute jumper adjacent on a separate bridge. What's important, though, is that when you disengage, you can see the entirety of the clutch moving. You can see the horns and levers of the chronograph engaging with the column wheel. And when you reset, watch at center, you can see the recentering hammers acting on the heart cams to zero the chronograph. So it keeps no secrets, does this 33 jewel in-house Patek Philippe chronograph caliber. And when I turn it flush to the camera, you can see the edge of every bridge and lever light up. Every jewel sync, every screw countersink, mirrored, rounded, optically smooth, hand-laid anglage, not a machined bevel. You'll also note that everything, like the column wheel cap and the screw heads that is black polished, will turn black when turned flush to the camera. Perfectly aligned, but spare Côte de Genève across the bridges. You'll also note that there is a micro perlage across the base plate. You can see it below the balance and also adjacent to the column wheel. All of the levers are beautifully straight grained. It's a feast for the eyes. It works on every level, as art, yes, but also as engineering, and that's the best of both worlds. You can see this first generation yellow gold Patek Philippe 5170J and make it yours on the watch box.